parents, I think, should seriously consider participating actively in basketball, potentially from a coaching perspective. Okay, so we talked about a team manager. Obviously, if you want to be a team manager, to really involve yourself that way. And I'm going to be clear here. This is not everyone's cup of tea. Okay, don't get me wrong. Okay, I'm not saying every parent should participate actively. If you're a parent that can't handle kids in general, then don't. If it's 40 minutes that you don't have to worry about your own kid, that by bringing them to sports, then don't get involved with other people's kids. Okay. If you're obviously a parent that can't let the referees' calls go, then do sit on another court. Okay, those are some prerequisites there. Okay, but if you are a parent that likes to be involved with your child's activities, I think it's a great opportunity to say that there's always that opportunity to do so in basketball. And I'm going to say it's not even in a game. Okay, that's at home. That's saying, hey, want to grab the ball and go shoot some free throws in the driveway. That's going, hey, want to walk down to the park and let's go play some basketball. Hey, I saw you've been doing some passing drills at training this week in the under 10s group. Why don't we go do some passing in the backyard? Okay, there's many ways that you can coach or involve yourself in a positive way with your child's game. Okay, and I think that's a real important component there, because again, if you think about it, we've talked about how we develop a passion or help our kids develop a passion for the sport. If this is something that they are doing on a daily or consistent basis, that they're loving every component of basketball. They love the part they're playing on the PlayStation. They love the part where they get to spend time with you in the backyard, getting better at whatever skill set they're practicing. They love the part where they play with their friends at school. They love the part where they play, they go to training and they play those games on the weekend and stuff like that. That's where that love and the passion of the sport comes out. Okay, and I think that's an important point, that I think that, even if you're not skilled at basketball or you experience basketball, maybe you never played basketball when you were a junior either, and that's fine. Okay, you can come and pick up these skill sets by simply observing. Okay, you sit into any 60-minute coaching session, and if you just paid attention, you'd be able to go home and take away, I'd hopefully say, at least 3 or 4 drills. Okay, that's the point. Okay, so there's always these opportunities here. And at home, again, it's that progressiveness of player development. Okay, again, when we're talking about passing, for example, there's so many different sort of passes to work on. Okay, especially with juniors, I work a lot on players being able to pass with both hands. Can I throw this pass one-handed with my right hand and one-handed with my left hand? Okay, again, it's the same with like shooting, like those layups. If you hopefully have enough concrete out the front and a good, reasonable basketball ring, being able to work on both hands. Okay, because again, like we touched upon, I said obviously defense is so important in being a successful basketball player. The ability to be able to work both sides of the game is equally as important as an individual player to be to be considered a really good basketball player. And again, players don't always get that reinforcement. They want to see what works. So hey, I can make right-hand layups, so I'll just make right-hand layups for the rest of my life. Except when I'm on the left-hand side, all I can do is shoot a right-hand layup, right? That's the thing. All right, so it's that sort of reinforcement. I think that and I put here in the notes, as being a basketball coach, not only in an official capacity, but obviously as a parent, can be a real positive to what you're trying to hopefully build and develop and grow in your child.
So I think there's 2 extra things for the entryway for basketball. Number one is, the internet is actually our friend now. The amount of YouTube videos that you could probably find for basketball drills, even if you're a layperson or don't understand the sport, you could set your kid up for that. And obviously iPads, you can put it outside, pause it, kind of get the drill. And if you make that a daily habit, you eventually make it your drill, right? So that's one thing. But the second is, and you were touching on it with the right-hand layup, I'm just getting glued to it. It's balancing I'm good at this and I'm getting better at that. And it's the feedback loop of keep my strengths strong, but keep my weaknesses growing or improving. And that's the hardest part, because when we watch highlights, right? So Steph Curry is a really easiest one. Since the prevalence of Steph Curry, everyone all of a sudden is like, I want to shoot step back threes or side step threes, right? When they never did the initial step of shooting set threes. And it's the same for dribble moves. You know what I mean? Like it's, oh, I want to do, I want to do a slick crossover, but I actually can't dribble with my left hand very well. So when I do a crossover, I'm kind of just smacking it straight back to my right hand so I can get going. Or, I want to do a hezzy dribble, but I actually don't know how to shuffle my feet. So I kind of just end up carrying the ball. And, for people who aren't well adept or aren't training, they do this stuff in game. And I've refed a couple of games where you get hilarious attempted moves. And some people are good at it and they just laugh it off. And other people are seriously like, what did I do wrong? And that's where, getting the fundamentals right and almost using the fundamentals as your basis of strength. I still shoot around from time to time. And, one of the things that I do now for my warm up is, you do a couple of set shots before you worry about doing, dribbles to get into your set shots. And then if you're going to start doing some fadeaways or some spins or, some two-step stuff, you still start with the things that you're good at. You feel good putting the ball in the hoop, feel good handling the ball and getting that initial stuff before you go straight into the drills. And I think for people at home, you have YouTube videos that start with, this is how to start dribbling a basketball, to this is how you can do a figure eight, to this is how you can, do the sham god. So it's progressing yourself appropriately, not just going instantly to that. I think as a quick anecdote, I remember when I tried to learn guitar as a kid, when you want to learn guitar, it's boring because you're supposed to learn how to pluck each string and learn basic chords.
Yep.
But in my head as a kid, but I want to play a Metallica song. I want to go, that's how, like, I'll just get good because I'll just do it. And sport is exactly the same. You can't just play it an osmosis skill. It's not going to happen, right? So training, practice, that's where a lot of the development occurs.
Look, absolutely. You talked about Steph Curry. You said, talking about step back threes and fadeaways and, pulling up in transition 35 feet out. I think there's a fundamental even before him shooting threes. I would imagine that Steph Curry can shoot a 2. Yeah,
correct. Yeah,
that's the point. Yeah, and before he shot that 20-foot 2 and that 15-foot 2, I imagine he could make a layup. Yeah, and that's the point here. Okay, and a big part of it is that we probably haven't said this word tonight, is repetition. Okay, it's all about repetition. Okay, you go away, you have that sort of, leave the game and you go, what can we work on? What's the feedback? You talked about feedback earlier tonight as a coach. And often, to simplify it without specifically having to give each player a tailored feedback answer, is that continue to put the reps in on what we've been doing and whatever that might be. So whether that week we've been doing layups, then go shoot more. Whether that week we've been doing passing or defense or whatever it is that we've been focusing on, dribbling, okay, go put in more reps. Okay, you can never put in more reps than needed, in a sense, depending how good you want to be and whatever level you might get yourself to.